is
Yeah.
that if there's one single thing stressing me out, sleep is the first thing that goes out the window for me. And then it's just like the knock-on effect in my life. Like I was a zombie for the first like 2 or 3 days for the holiday because I'd missed an entire night of sleep. All right, hey, this is so funny. I had a group session earlier, and one of the main conclusions at the end was exactly this point. Wake up at the same time every day is the first and most important thing to start with because it helps reduce anxiety and depression when you can get into a routine. Do you know what's funny, Jack? In the last 2 weeks, like I've been I use the Sleep Cycle app. You know
Oh,
the
I have that one. I have that one too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
use it. I've been using it religiously for like 3 or 4 years, and lately my wake up time has gone like, so it was really erratic. The graph was like that, and it's just started to go like that, and it's finally reached an equilibrium where for the last like 10 days, I think I've woken up within half an hour of the day before, which
Hmm.
is as good as I've ever had it. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm going to bed at the same time. So I'm going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time. I made that a very I made that kind of a priority towards the end of last month. And I mean, I couldn't say that it's reduced my anxiety or depression or anything like that, but I certainly feel better and my day feels more organised and I find it easier to get to work and get things done just by having a bit of structure. Whereas, like, if I'm left to my own devices, I'm a very disorganised guy. I will just crawl into bed whenever it feels right and wake up whenever my body tells me it's time to get up and then just kind of piss around, not really have any structured plan, and do my 651 stuff and then kind of hop into the grind anywhere within like a 4 hour window, genuinely.
Yeah, just all over the place. Yeah, totally.
But I
Um,
feel like the glue that holds the whole schedule together is the sleep, to be honest.
yeah, it really is, man. And like he really like stresses this point out. And it's funny because this was the main point in another book that I read called Why We Sleep.
Mm.
And this was the main point. It said if you take away anything from this book, you can throw everything else in the trash. Wake up at the same time every single day. And this was his number one rule in the book. Number
Mm-hmm.
one. He says, because he's a psychologist or whatever as well, like on top
Yeah.
of everything he does. And he says when people come to him about anxiety and depression, he says that's the number one thing. He's like, you got to get fixed before anything. Wake up at the same time every single day. It's way more important than you think it is. And some people may take this wake up at the same time every single day um, in a sense where like, oh, I'll wake up within the hour or something. But that's not what he means, and that's not what the Why We Sleep book meant. He means like when he says the same time every day, he means like the same exact time every
Mm.
single day. Like if it's like 9 a.m., he means 9 a.m., not 9:13, not 8:52. He means the same exact time every single day. And he says that alone, long term, will reduce anxiety and depression in a big way because then you know like you can structure your day and like you know what time you're going to be up. And there's tons and tons of benefits.
I mean, it's this, like the insomniacs watching this will be saying, you know, what happens when I wake up too early and I can't get back to sleep, and then I have a deficit, which is me all the time. Like I'll wake up 3 hours before I'm supposed to get up, be awake for like an hour and a half, and then I've got a deficit, and I don't want to get up, um, with you know a lack of sleep essentially. Um, for those watching this, there's two things about that. Number one, what would be really interesting. Go and I'll post the link on the forum. There's a test you can take that ascertains your chronotype, which is when you like to sleep and when you like to wake up. And there's a whole bunch of different chronotypes. There's like a bear, a wolf, a dolphin. There's a couple more as well. I can't remember what they are. Most poker players end up being dolphins. This is all stuff that's on the Elliott Road video pack. There's a couple of hours with a sleep doctor on there, and he talks all about this. But you can go on and see your chronotype. Mine is that I like to go to bed really late and get up late, but also that I'm a bad sleeper and that I ruminate in bed. So which means like I will lay in bed and like think about things that I fucked up, and I will like
Yeah.
just basically go over shit in my head instead of trying to get to sleep. Whereas if you're a different type of chronotype like my wife, you get in bed and just like you're out like a light.
Oh, I'm so jealous of those kind of people,
I
man.
know,
Like,
man, it's crazy.
Like she'd be in bed, 3 seconds, she's knocked out. Like it's just like sitting on the couch watching a TV show, she can just like knock out.
Duck
And
can sleep anywhere at any
yeah,
time.
anywhere,
Yeah.
like anywhere, anytime at a snap of fingers. And I'm just like, my whole life, I've been similar to you because I think it's
Yeah.
probably really from, like anxieties too, like where we overthink things a lot. And it takes me, on average, like an hour or two, a lot of nights to fall asleep. And
Yeah.
depending on how tired I am, like if I'm exhausted or if I'm like drunk, I usually knock out fast.
That's
Those are the
not that's not falling to sleep. I have read about this. That's not falling asleep. It's passing out. It's a different thing, isn't it?
yeah, it's like you just knock out. Like I lay down, I'm like, I'm dead.
Yeah.
My head's spinning, I'm like, I can't survive
it's
any
a
longer.
it's a loss of consciousness with no rest, basically.
Yeah,
But it's not
that's
sleep.
the point.
Yeah.
But on average, like it does take me usually in the past longer than now. Like in the past, sometimes it took me a long time. I would say recently, probably 30 minutes to an hour. Like I've been better than I ever have been in my life lately.
Yeah.
For the last couple of years, where it takes me like sometimes even like probably as short as like 15, 20 minutes even sometimes. Where I just knock out.
And one of the reasons will be because you've probably been more strict with your going to bed and waking up. So your circadian rhythm is more set, right? Because that's what they say. Everything's about rhythm. Your body needs the rhythm. It's like, it doesn't matter if you go to bed when it's light outside or if it's dark outside, no matter how tired you are or how much sleep you had the day before. All that matters is you get into the rhythm. Same time for bed, same time waking up. You do your best. Like, you basically get as close as you possibly can with those two things. At least with going to sleep, because you can't control when you go to sleep, but at least when you wake up, if you wake up at the exact same time every day, your body will start to adjust to that and you'll fall asleep. You will start to feel tired when you go to bed because your body has learned to produce melatonin at that point, and then when it's time to wake up, your body will start waking up naturally. Like today, I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm was set. And I woke up and looked at the clock and I was like, that's actually fucking perfect. Do you know what I mean?
That's
My body knew, for the first time in ages, my body knew, it's like, hey, this is the time that you need to start waking up. So like, I would recommend everybody to really stick to that. As someone who is a really, really bad, and I'm a really terrible sleeper, like if I get jet lag, it will ruin my entire holiday. The whole holiday I'll be getting over jet lag.
Me too.
Like, I can't sleep on it.
I'm jet lag, man. Like I don't want to do anything. My head's spinning, and I just I feel like I think you and I are similar in the sense that we're very sensitive physically to things. Like just like I don't know, I just can't handle it. I'm jet lag, and like my ex-girlfriend's yelling at me, "Let's go do this, let's go do that." I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything at all. Like I just want to like just lay down and just like my brain just doesn't feel right. Like I don't know. It's just
even on a plane, Jack, just like I can be like 26 hours with no sleep and exhausted and barely conscious, but I still can't fall asleep on a plane.
I never fell asleep on a plane in my whole life.
No matter how much I try.
And you know what? Like it affects people around me too. Like in a sense where there's probably some people that are like us. I would say, like it affects me, people around me too. Because my ex-girlfriend, we would say we want to go on vacation, and she would find a flight at like 7 a.m.
I'm not taking that flight.
Me, like I will pay the extra few $100s. I'm not flying at that. I'm not waking up at that time. I don't care. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
The last thing that I will sacrifice is sleep, because I know for me, if I sleep 5 or 6 hours, I'm gonna have the worst day. Like everything's miserable for me.
But it
like I don't care if you put me on like a dream scenario, like dude, we'll go to the basketball game at nighttime. We'll go to play tennis. Like whatever I actually like to do. I wouldn't enjoy any of it if I'm on like 5 or 6 hours of sleep, and I'll just be miserable to be around.
And then you have to sleep, and then you have to catch up, and it fucks up the day, and then you're jet lagged. That's what happened to me and Duck on a few holidays. Morning flight, get there, haven't slept because I can't just go to bed at like 8 p.m. and sleep. So haven't slept, stayed up all night, flown through the night, didn't get a wink of sleep on the flight. Get there and have to sleep, and then my sleep schedule is now set to during the day. And it just ruins the whole week for me. So it's not like the few $100 is just, that's like a tax that I am going to have to pay to enjoy my holiday. Otherwise, the holiday's a waste of time.
100%. And you know what? Like other people might see it as like you're being a baby or you're being a child. No. I don't care. I like, because they don't understand, right? They can sleep on cue, like obviously Duck. Some other people can sleep on cue. So they're like, I don't get it. Like, how can waking up one day at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. bother you that much? Like, it bothers me to no end. Like, I can't. I
Here's
will
the
not
funny
do it.
thing.
I absolutely refuse.
The funny thing is that a lot of people watching this now are going to feel exactly the same way and have the same sleep issues, right? Not everybody, but quite a few people. And the reason is because this chronotype who struggles with sleep, dolphins, and Jack, if you do this test, I guarantee you'll be the same as me, right? Duck and her mum did it, they were bears. You'll be a dolphin 100%. Dolphins are the ones who like have the anxiety problems and tend to struggle with things like sleep. They like they are typically highly analytical people, right? And they love to do deep analysis, and they're deep, like they say that these are like the ones who think the most because like they go over everything in their head. The dolphin's the kind of guy that like when he has a conversation with someone, he or she, that they'll go back later on and spend ages thinking about what they said and analysing what they said and how they could have said it differently. They're that type of person, quite neurotic. They said in the Elliot Ray video pack, they said most poker players are dolphins. Because to become a professional poker player, you have to be a highly analytical and slightly neurotic person.
Yeah.
And so people like bears and wolves, the other types of chronotype, they don't have necessarily the same level of curiosity or neuroses for it, and they're maybe not as analytical. They like to be a little bit more easygoing, and people like that don't tend to make it in poker. So I guarantee loads of people watching this are going to be exactly the same as us.
Yeah. I can see that 100%. Because like if you think about it, the average poker player probably wakes up at like 10, 11 in the morning, you know, like, and that's not normal for normal humans. And like, you know, like poker, like drives a certain, you know, personality type to it, you know, like those guys that like sleeping in, they like being lazy, but they're good at games. They're good. They have the analytical mind. They can solve puzzles and they're good at that kind of stuff. So, I mean, we could talk about this the entire time.
I'm very passionate about sleep because I am so shit at it.
Me too. It's my number one priority. I swear to you. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you tell me that, you know, like a person that I idolize, like call it like, you're just like, hey,
Tony
dude,
Robbins.
you can who? Tony Robbins. You can Tony Robbins. If you wake up at 5 a.m., you can spend the entire day with him. I'd be like, I don't care. I'm not doing it. I'm dead serious. I would not do it. I would not do it. Like if you're gonna wake me up at 5 a.m. and I can spend the whole day with him, I'm gonna be miserable throughout that whole day. I don't care who I'm with.
It's funny as well. It's so funny as well because it so often gets mixed up with laziness. It's not laziness.
Laziness. It's just I can't do it. I can't do it, man. I need 8 hours, preferably 9.
Yeah.
But I usually need 8 at least. I prefer 9, sometimes even 9.5. That would be my ideal. But if I get anything under 8, it could even be like 7, 6. Once it gets like 6 or under, I hate everything. I just can't function.
It's not lazy. It's like this is what I need to function. Like
that's it. It's just
functioning.
Functioning.
You can't physiologically like hack that. That is like there is no hack for sleep. There is no alternative, no substitute. It's
because
just,
regardless of what you're doing, I remember I saw a show. There was before we get into the next one, last thing. So I went to go see The Lion King, like the Broadway musical in New York City, in Times Square. It was a very expensive ticket, and at that time when I went to see it, it kind of made me a little bit anxious. I was like, oh, this is a very expensive ticket. I better make sure like I'm you know not tired for this. But that morning, for some reason, I was woken up by my parents because I was vacationing in New York. I was woken up by my parents like at an early time because my mom was like banging around the kitchen and like doing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So I woke up at like 8 in the morning when I fell asleep at like 2. So let's say I got like 6 hours of sleep. We were going to see The Lion King that night, and the day had it so that I couldn't take a nap because a lot of people were on my ass about it. And I went to see The Lion King, and I couldn't even enjoy it that much because like the whole time my mind was just like, I'm just so tired. Like I couldn't stop thinking about how tired I was and like how exhausted I felt. And like this wonderful show was going on, but I honestly couldn't enjoy it. And it was just like,
that's so sad.
It was just upsetting. Like I was just like, if only I got a couple hours sleep, I would have been so happy here, just like having a great time, you know.
I'll tell you what, like just last thing, like 2 weeks before I joined 651, because I went busted just before this, I took Duck to Vegas for her 30th birthday, and the day before I looked at my passport and there was a tiny little fold in the bottom left of my passport, like on the photo page, and I started to convince myself that I wasn't going to be able to get on the flight because my passport was damaged. And I went to bed and I had like 10 hours scheduled for sleep, and I didn't sleep for a single second because I just could not the anxiety over my passport, like, completely crippled me. I went to the airport, put my passport in the thing, out comes, yeah, here's your tickets, have a nice flight. I was like, for fuck's sake. But that's how sensitive my sleep is.
What are you gonna do?
Duck gets so tilted when I haven't had sleep. She's like, oh great, here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go.
because she can't understand. She's like, why don't you just sleep and just move on? You know,
Because she's
like
a sleeper. She's
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
exactly. Like that's what they're thinking is like, why can't you just do it and just move on? But like it's unless you have it, you can't really understand it. So I definitely get it.
So yeah, the conclusion of this: if you struggle with sleep, message me or Jack. Like we'll talk more about this at a later stage, but make this your priority. As I was saying in my last coaching session, I was like, make it your one thing. You know, the number one priority. And if you're a sleeper, yeah, fuck you. So jealous if you're a sleeper. All right.